welcome to episode 157 of Retro Encounter, RPG Fans Weekly Podcast. I'm Mike Sollosi, and we're here to talk about Mega Man Legends for a second week in a row, talking about the end game, the side quests, the future of Mega Man Legends, which is maybe more of a depressing topic than I'd care to admit. But we have lots to talk about, and there are three people joining me this week, starting with Robert Fenner.
Hello, good to be back.
And also
Don't
Scott Clay. Oh, well, I'm sorry. Say that again.
Don't have anything witty this week, and then I've just talked over you. So, wonderful start.
Nah, I'm just probably being a little too aggressive. But joining Rob and I is Scott Clay.
What's up, everybody?
And finally, Mike Salbato.
Why am I always last?
You weren't last time, were you?
Oh, wait, was I? I don't know. Hello.
I'll have to go back and check. And man, I don't know, man. Like, the last time you were on the podcast before last week, I think was that Final Fantasy episode that went 3.5 hours. I was worried it scared you away.
It was that or Parasite Eve. I forget which was first.
Parasite Eve was like 2015 or something. So I'm quite certain it was the Final Fantasy one from last year.
All right, boy, I need to come on here more often then.
Gentlemen, were we all able to finish it sometime in the past week? It wasn't a terribly long game. I think my final playtime was probably 10 hours, maybe less.
My clock was at the 10-hour mark.
It was something like that. I think it was like 8 or like 8:50 or very close to 9.
Yeah, I think I was around 9.5 or 10, but I was hustling through the game towards the end because I was a little worried I wouldn't make it for the show, and also I was quite desperate to go back to playing Dragon Quest XI. But
yeah, I had like 11 something, but I was spending a lot of time doing almost every side quest and getting money. So
yeah, I barely did any of the side quests, but let's jump into that right away. I wasn't aware that this game even had side quests at the time of our first recording, so I was maybe
they're not really sound good.
Yeah, I was probably 6 hours in or something when we recorded the first episode, and I don't know. I think we mentioned side quests during the recording, or maybe just after the recording. So I went back and it's like, oh, there's little side quests in the police station and hospital, and I think maybe you also told me this off recording, but you may have to go to the mayor and pay her to repair the town to unlock some of the side quests. Is that right?
Yeah.
And is the only condition for that affects that the first boss battle where the Bond robots are destroying buildings, or do you have to upgrade them? Let's say you do that boss battle perfectly and all the buildings are undamaged. Do you have to pay money to upgrade buildings?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think at least one building is going to get damaged.
Yeah,
I don't think there's a way to do it perfectly.
Yeah, I don't think you can do it absolutely perfectly, but you definitely don't have to pay to upgrade anything. Like, it's quick.
Okay, because I mean, I guess I'm spoiled by open world action and sort of RPGs with a lot of side quests in the 2010s, but no notifications, no arrows over people's heads. It's not really communicated to the players that side quests exist. Like, is there a moment where the mayor or someone says, "Oh, go to the police station. Maybe they'll have some odd jobs for you"? Because I don't remember encountering anything like that.
It's just counting on you to go talk to everybody.
Yeah. Not only go talk to everybody, but talk to everybody again after each major event, because certain ones only open up at certain points in the game.
Yeah, there's actually I was going to talk about it. There's actually a couple side quests that like you wouldn't find them anywhere else. Like I think there's 2 on the footer that through the end of the game that you need to turn the TV on to activate.
Yeah, I mean, I should mention I only did one side quest this whole game, and it was at the police station, and I don't even think I had to pay the mayor to upgrade it. I paid to fix City Hall a little bit, but I'm not sure that affected anything. But the and again, I don't want to sound like I started playing video games in 2009. I mean, of course, side content in older RPGs that didn't have all of the modern UI and communication tools that these games did. Of course, side quests would, be unlocked through player exploration and talking to the right NPC at the right time. That's not new to any of us. But in Mega Man Legends, it felt like I never, ever had to go uptown or downtown for stuff, especially uptown, for a huge majority of the game. I was just like, okay, next ruins. Okay, I'll go to the junk shop and see if I can see if there's a new Buster part. But
I think maybe part of that is us being spoiled and jaded by the vast 100-hour open world games that we see multiple multiple releases each year. Whereas when Mega Man Legends was contemporary, having this big city space was a pretty rare thing indeed. So you if you hadn't seen anything like that before, you would probably be more keen to stray from the critical path.
Sure, but I.
I guess it depends on the
I
type
don't
of game
know,
where
but
you
like
are.
I'm not expecting, again, modern sensibilities of open world action games in Mega Man Legends, but maybe just some more breadcrumbs,
Yeah, that would have been good, definitely.
or even in a game that only came out a year later, The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time, that deep cut cult hit that only a handful of people have played, of course. Like at least that game has you going through the main town hub all the time, and has side quests available in the new area, like along the critical path of the story. Like you have to go to Goron Mountain a couple times in Ocarina of Time, and then if you just talk to the Gorons there the first and second time you visit, you'll encounter conversations about the side quests attached to that area. But there's nothing like that in Mega Man Legends. You have to go out of your way to go to a part of the town that you visit maybe 2 times naturally through the game. And some of these side quests are quite detailed and have some pretty substantial rewards.
It was also, I think, a little bit of a different time where when you bought a game, you kind of explored and you kind of did these things. You weren't kind of rushing through it. So it was like, I think we all said we beat this game pretty fast, right? But if you're sitting there like just playing casually, you're thinking what, back in 97, 98, right? You're sitting there, you're going, okay, that's the only game I got, so you might as well just go around and do every Explorer and stuff like that.
More than three games came out a year, dude.
Yeah, but in 97, 98, I didn't have money.
Well, I mean, also when it was new, we weren't playing it under a time limit to critique it on a podcast.
Speak for yourself. I probably rented more than I bought in those days because of funds mostly. But I mean, of course, everyone's play experience and everyone's available funds are different. But I mean,
still, you're not racing to get to the end so you can talk about it.
He had a podcast in 1997.
True.
Of course, he did.
I podcasted about I don't know, algebra.
If anybody did, it was definitely you.
Sure. I podcast an awful lot for someone who isn't paid to do so. But I don't know. I'm trying to think of how I played video games 20 years ago, but I definitely replayed games more and didn't have the problem of being surrounded by every video game ever made at all times. In 1997, 98, I mean, I didn't even have a PlayStation until 99 or 2000, but I think that the side quests are hidden and easy to miss in this game. And and that's a little disappointing because I think I mentioned in the previous episode the Shining Laser came up as one of the cool endgame weapons, and I knew about it because I'd played Tatsunoko v Capcom. Me being still trying to enjoy fighting games in 2018. And the Shining Laser is Mega Man Volnut's super move in that game, or one of them. So I'm like, oh, sweet, I can get the Shining Laser in the end. But no, it's one of its components, or maybe more than one, are locked behind side quests. So I never even sniffed
all of them.
Oh, all of them. All right. So I never sniffed the Shining Laser.
And they are obnoxious side quests that will take a lot of time and patience to complete.
The one I did was the bomb defusing one, around the. Around Uptown, but they gave me, I think one of the items they gave me was a bomb, but it wasn't I'm not even sure if that unlocked anything, but again, this is an early 3D action game and has some early open world ideas in it without really being an open world game. It's some of the side content isn't, as obvious as I would have preferred or as accessible as I would have preferred. And that leads me to another thing. I think if you get all the weapons in this game, or most of them, the cost of upgrading them is enormous. Like I think I maybe only threw one upgrade at the Active Buster after I got it because upgrade amounts go into the hundreds of thousands of Zenny pretty fast. And I basically maxed out the Vacuum Arm and the Machine Buster, and I think that was about it. But
you're also going to want to be upgrading your armor at the junk shop so you can actually stand a chance.
Yes, that's right. I did get a flak jacket.
Yeah.
And I think one upgrade from that eventually. But
say like take half damage, but then all the end game foes do so much damage that it's about the same.
yeah, I was threatened a couple times, I don't think I got a game over in the second half of the game. But I was,
Oh,
playing
lucky
playing
you.
playing very
Nice.
carefully.
I'm waiting while we're talking about taking less damage. I'm waiting for Scott to chime in and say I didn't buy any of those because I just didn't get hit.
No, I mean, I didn't get a game over. I mean, I played this game a lot, though. I mean, I kind of knew everything was coming, so it wasn't like that. But I mean, you still get the upgrades there. I mean, like I said, there's some cheap ways to get money in the game.
So I mean, like how? Because I
Okay,
think the guide I was checking mentioned total cost of upgrading everything 3 million Zenny or something, and I'm like,
Oh my
well, f
god.
that
oh yeah,
that's not happening.
there's some things like the Active Buster that, and maybe the Shining Laser that are just kind of over the top and kind of unnecessary. But I think there's a few ways you can get infinite Zenny, and there's one way you can get 200,000 Zenny through another side quest, like immediately. But,
Ooh, that makes you a baddie though.
but yeah, it makes you
Yeah.
baddie, but who cares? You get
Well, then you
200,000
don't get to see
Zenny.
Servbots open their burger joint. If
Yeah,
you
but that's that. Yeah, it's not. I think that's a trade off if you play the game much times. So.
well,
Okay, I don't know anything about the Servbot burger joint, but I immediately support it over criminal activity.
so the Servbots robbed the bank at one point, and
I don't think they robbed the bank. I think they were mistaken for robbers, or like they
Those
actually took
adorable
money out.
felonious
But they
scams.
think because they've been running around like destroying things for like the last couple days that they're like, oh, these guys are robbers, take them out.
Yeah.
I think that's the case. And
They
then
have a briefcase of money, so obviously
yeah
they stole it.
they have a briefcase when they stole it. So when you pick it up, it's like I can give
Bank
this
doesn't
in.
keep the bank does not keep money in briefcases. Those
Well,
Servbots earned that with their hard,
uh,
their hard Scrabble lemonade stand or something. I believe in the Servbots.
but
Innocent
honestly,
until proven guilty.
well, we'll get to that.
yeah, honestly, it's one of my favorite parts. So you pick up the money, and it's like you could just walk out. If you walk out from that side quest right there, you keep the money, and all of a sudden everybody hates you because your armor immediately turns black, and you become a social pariah from everybody because you stole 200,000 Zen, right? Or you give it back, you get like I think 10,000, and you get to see
20.
Oh, 20, okay, and then you get to see little burgers stand at the Servbot start. I think the 200,000 Zen is a better reward for stopping possible
Serve
robbery.
bot burgers.
Burger cutscene forever.
Now I wish I had done some side quests to get
Well,
this cutscene.
but that's the one. That's one of the ones Scott's talking about, though.
Yeah.
Like, this only gets triggered if you go to the Flutter and watch the TV, which tells you, oh, there's something going on downtown.
Yeah,
And that's the thing.
I never found a single hint to go back to the Flutter. I didn't. I mean, really?
See,
Well,
well, I mean,
like-
that's the whole thing. The minute I got a chance to explore the Flutter back in the day, I was like, oh shit, I get to go on the Flutter, go and you look at everything, and you touch everything, and you go in Roll's room, and you get in trouble, and all that stuff.
Well, that's the other problem with these quests. Dr. Barrel like hints that you should watch the TV. He's like, "Oh, Mega Man, just hang out for a while and watch TV with me." But depending on when you're up there with him and when you do that, you might just like inspect the TV and just get a weather report.
Right.
Or, if you do it at a very certain time window, you'll unlock these quests.
Yeah, I think it has something to do with what's been rebuilt downtown, and what's been not rebuilt. I think you need certain things. I'm not sure. I don't know the exact specifics.
And it's certain things and whether you've completed certain quests. And according to one guide I read, like some of it's like time based. Like I know there's one where there's the three guys and they have their little club, which is where you get more.
The X-Buster for the Shining Laser.
Yeah. And like you go to them and they're like, hey, I need like a saw or something. So you go find some construction worker and get it. And you go back and they say, okay, cool. Well, now we're upgrading. So come back later. And it really means later. Like you have to let certain amount of like actual time go by before you can continue the
okay.
quest.
So it's time based in that you have to wait real hours, not time based in that you have a limited number of hours to complete it.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah, I don't think there's any.
That's better.
super-
That's better than my first assumption.
I could be wrong. Maybe there is a couple missable side quests. I don't think there really is.
I don't think there is.
I don't think
The only two I did not finish, so of course I don't have the laser in this playthrough, is one of the mini games at the TV station because they're awful. I did all of the racing except I could not get through the technical course and I didn't have the patience for it. And then there's a side quest which I think you need for that, with a little girl in the hospital because I could not get the next stage of the quest to trigger, and I don't know why. Like
Yeah,
you're
I
supposed to
missed
be able
that
to
one.
donate money to like help the girl out, but like they never offered me unless I was talking to the wrong person. So I don't know. I think with all of this is the last thing I'll say on the side quest because we were supposed to talk about how to get all the money. But I think when it comes to the side quests, I think Fenner started mentioning it. It sort of depends on the kind of player you are. I know for me, like maybe not this playthrough because we were trying to like get through it in podcast, but generally when I play games, I spend way too much time exploring. Which is probably why MMOs are not good for me because I'm happy to just like hang around and like look at stuff for hours and hours.
I think that's like the MMO player mentality is let's go explore. I think for a lot of stuff, if you do that, you'll find everything. I think.
Yeah, and just keep talking to everyone, which even though the side quests are kind of weird and obscure, at the same time, I think it's a strength of the game that like so many of these characters have different dialogue like constantly throughout the game. Like there's a surprising amount of dialogue for the size of this game.
There is a lot of dialogue if you especially voice dialogue, and I was consistently impressed by that for this being a 1997 game. But I mean, it is true. I am more of an objective-based RPG player compared to a lot of people that I know. So it's like unless I know I'm getting a reward from something, I'm at least less inclined to do it, and I don't always want to go around and talk to everyone. I want to get on to the next reward or the next plot point. A lot of the time, I'm you can call it impatient
or the friends that you make along the way.
but
the reward is exploration. You get to explore things.
But I don't see a button on. I don't see a meter for exploration, and maybe hanging out with friends lets me upgrade my social link, but not always. So I again. Sometimes really care about completing objectives more than just experiencing a game, but not always. And I think I would have liked to do these side quests, and I would have been more inclined to explore if they gave me stuff to do. If I had a better reason to visit these slightly hidden away parts of the game. Like even if well, I mean, sure that's true, but it was never communicated to me. You have to go pretty far off the beaten path to get some of these side quests available, and I thought it was poorly communicated. But again, this is a 1997 game, and so I don't know if I want to give it that much crap.
I can't argue with you on that one.
Mike and Scott, you were both saying that Mike, you had upgraded almost every weapon in one earlier playthrough many years ago, and Scott, you said that there was a way or ways besides cheating those poor serve bards out of their hard-earned cash, you monster, to get a lot of money at once. Is there an effective way of farming Zenny, or is it really just no, you just got to go through dungeons and do side quests?
I think I don't remember. I haven't done it in a long time. I think there's a way to get infinite Zenny very quickly. Like you just do something like over and over and over again. You get like 1,000 or 2,000 every time you do it, and it's like it's better than just going around trying to kill things in the long run because you're not like actively going through loading zones and stuff like that. But I don't remember how to do it. It's been a long time.
The TV games.
The TV games, yeah.
If you're good at them, like by the time you get to rank A, you'll get like 2,000-3,000.
Kick that can 1,000 times in a row.
Yeah. Or you can do that.
I don't know. I can see the balloon one maybe working.
Kicking the can was pretty satisfying. It made me wonder what a Mega Man Soccer 3D or a Mega Man Football or field goal kicking minigame would look like.
Did you back when the whole ridiculous Red Ash thing was happening? That's what Inafune released, like a very, very rough, poorly programmed demo of Beck kicking a can into a bakery.
I think I do remember that, or seeing a GIF or a video, and I just God, I'm such a moron. I'm just realizing this now. Red Ash is also Re-Dash.
Yeah.
Boy.
So I actually just looked this up, and it involves a character we did not talk about yet. This Infinite Zenny glitch.
Oh, is it a Data, the greatest character in the game?
Yes, it is Data.
Awesome.
So if you tell Data you keep losing fights, and then you answer like his the questions in like in a correct order, he keeps giving you 1,000 Zenny every time. He keeps giving you can just keep getting 1,000 Zenny from him. Unless you say no to it, then you get like I think it says you get a lump sum of 56,000, but you don't get any more. But you don't want to do that. You want to keep getting money from him. There you go.
So you
Why
can
does he have so much
So
money?
you can dialogue
I don't
farm
know,
with
he's-
Zenny.
I mean, he keeps
It's
dancing.
Bitcoin.
People probably gets money for it.
Oh,
he
his
just,
tip money.
Data just prints money.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like there's also maybe some corridor somewhere. Like if you wanted to, you could probably just run through the main gate.
Like the early patch Destiny 1 thing where you could just keep firing guns into a cave and it would spit money back out at you.
Yeah.
I mean, I wish it was that easy.
When you unlock the sub-cities and you have to defeat all the creatures in a room before going to get the key, if you go back and do that, you get about 20k each time you clear out one of those, and it takes maybe like 5 minutes.
Oh shoot! Do they respawn when you go back in? I didn't even.
Yeah,
I never went
every
back
time.
in.
There's
Oh
also-
shoot! That's a good one.
There's also the easy mode after you beat the hard mode, which is like you can get a lot of money very quickly. It's like I think it's like 4 or 5 times the amount you normally get from everything. So
Yeah, I did read in the replay mode on easy, you get the jump and the skates from the beginning, or maybe just the skates, and all of the rewards are more substantial. Which, if you want to, upgrade that active buster all the way to max, maybe wait for the second playthrough. Seems to be the solution.
Yeah, well, third because you have to do hard mode first.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
You gotta do hard mode first. For that.
Oh, my bad. I must have blanked when you mentioned that. I'm sorry.
What a weird system.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
I preferred Capcom's later Devil May Cry system, where you unlock easy mode if you die enough times on mortal, then the game,
Exactly.
on normal, then the game takes pity on you.
I saw that screen a lot.
it's like,
are you
huh?
sure you don't want to switch?
He's like, huh? Looks like you're having a lot of trouble with normal. Wuss.
That was the-
Maybe this is more your speed.
I think that was the only way I could beat the first boss the first time I played Devil May Cry.
I think everyone had trouble with that boss first time I played it though. Like,
Yeah,
legit.
no, I really struggled the first time I played Devil May Cry, but I refused to go down to easy. I did not enjoy the game's tone in unlocking easy mode, so I was determined to beat it on normal, and I eventually did. But okay,
So,
back to
go
Mega
ahead,
Man
Mike.
Legends. Where we left off, you after the battle on the lake, you unlock I guess sort of the next 2 subgates back to back. And then at the end of the second one, you get the drill arm, which unlocks a lot of new rooms and new avenues and ways to interconnect the dungeons, and the interconnectivity of the different ruins was sort of a high point that I think Scott mentioned in the first episode. So, did we notice anything unusual or special about these? Because I mean, again, I don't want to sound like too much of a hater, but these ruins are kind of samey.
They're
they're all
the
samey.
same.
They're all the same.
Yeah. I mean, I think the last one's a little different. The closer gate one. At least it has a little different feel. And there's like, well, that one room where you dig all the way in, then find out that you didn't bring the grand grenade, so you have to go back out and equip it and come back in with it.
Right. Yes. I was. I didn't. I mean, I was following a guide, so I knew to do that. But it was.
Yeah.
I did not appreciate that amount of backtracking.
Yeah, I know we touched on it the first time, so I won't spend a lot of time. But that is one of the little annoyances in the game. Not that, I mean, the subgates aren't really even that long, so it's not that big a deal. But it's one of those things like the drill and the grenade. There's some things that are like really situational, where it'd be nice if they were just like items instead of.
Yeah, if you could upgrade them from
Yeah.
the menu, or even if there was a console where you could upgrade them from at like the beginning of the dungeon or something, I think that would have helped a lot. But alas, no, you have to exit the dungeon and call roll to change anything
Yeah.
on your right arm.
And it's just like almost like it's taunting you by having the menu option to look at your special weapons, and then you can unequip it.
Yeah,
and
so you
then
can kick things.
Yeah, unequip it and then forget and not realize what you did wrong, and then lose a boss battle like I might have at one point.
Oh. At least some of the dungeons have some unique rooms. Like the one under the lake, I like that room that's all full of like running water, and so it has some scenes. that aren't totally the same.
But I was gonna say that like that's what I thought was the second subgate when you're in that room with the waterfall on both sides. It connects. I think it connects to the sub route. yeah, it loops to the smaller gates, the smaller sub gates, and it's like, okay, I always like that room too.
Yeah.
It's not all samey, but you're right. It's a lot of the same stuff. It's not.
Yeah, but again, this is me in maybe '99 not enjoying Mega Man Legends when I rented it. Like to me, Mega Man stages are unique and themed after a boss or a single concept, and have catchy tunes and bold colors. And these were mostly identical looking ruins that did not have the uniqueness or the flavor of the Mega Man games I loved. So it does get a little better in Mega Man Legends 2. The dungeons feel more unique.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
that's good.
I mean, I think all of them are actually way more unique than this one. And there's no more big interconnecting gates anymore. So it's like,
That does seem like a marginal improvement that I would appreciate. But again, the interconnectivity of these dungeons is cool. The like again, Mega Man Legends has a lot of interesting concepts that maybe weren't executed perfectly because of the time and technology. But let's move through the story a little bit. I think the game got at least 20% more fun once I unlocked the skates.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
oh yeah,
absolutely.
I guess the skates are what?
Yeah, cruising and grinding around on those things was a blast. And again made backtracking much more tolerable as well.
Hmm.
Yeah, even more so when you remember when some random person tells you that you can hold up and go faster. Because I forgot that until like 3 days ago.
Man, I wouldn't mind playing like was there a racing mini game?
Yes, it's
Okay.
Yes.
I hate it.
And there's another
it's
one
bad.
in
That's too bad.
there's another one in Mega Man Legends 2. The
Bad.
one in Legends 2 is fun. I like the one in Legends 2.
Well, I shouldn't say it's bad. It gets frustrating with the requirements that go so high, and you have to like race through
okay.
these little cones.
This is not an engine that is meant for a skiing, skateboarding
That's fair.
/ race.
Yeah.
I always enjoy a racing mini game and a fishing mini game, but if they're if they're sort of unbalanced or unfair in a certain way, then I can see how they'd be frustrating.
Oh, I wish there was a fishing game.
I would totally play
So-
a fishing mini game if they had one in this.
That would fit in really nicely with the rest of this game.
It would actually. There's a little bit which I forgot about, and I don't know the story behind it. If someone else does, in the credits, there's like a single credit for like the Breath of Fire 3 rescue team. I don't know if like the Breath of Fire 3
Really?
team like helped out in some part of this game.
Sounds like they must have, huh?
Makes sense.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly, I think they had the time constraints on Mega Man Legends was like super strict, like because it wasn't something they wanted. Like I mean, I'm going off of like I think secondhand information here. There was something that Capcom didn't actually want to do.
Oh, I can see that.
Inafune kind of like we got to do this. Let's do this, and it kind of got enough popularity. They got a second game.
Mhm.
Possible. I mean, I can see how this might have been an Inafune passion project that was a little rushed to completion. Again, like I think of how dense the Apple market is and how empty seeming Uptown and Downtown are. It's like, oh, I bet they just ran out. I bet that they had a more ambitious blueprint for this, and at one point ran out of budget. But yeah, I appreciate. Again, I don't like some of the fundamental problems with these dungeons and this game's framework. But as you continue playing and the dungeons interconnect and you get the skates and you get more upgrades and more buster parts, I was enjoying it. I enjoyed the second half more than the first half. But I think it. I'm not sure what it would have needed for me to really be invested from the beginning. And so I want to ask, before we talk about the plot a little bit more, I want to ask you a question, and I'll have a special question right now and a special question near the end of the podcast. I want to ask all three of you. If Mega Man Legends 1 were to get a remake in 2019, and they preserved everything that was good about it before and have some modern sensibilities, what is one thing you would change or one thing you would absolutely need to add for a hypothetical Mega Man Legends 1 remake? And I'll go first because I didn't warn you about this question. So I'm playing a little unfair. And for me, I think it would be better maps and quest markers and just more side quests in general. Because again, I don't want to get too Ubisoft open world on you guys, but I think that one problem was that I wasn't able to find or encounter side quests. And if this game were to be remade, I think you need at least a better way of finding them, and so improved map and some level of quest marking, I think, is something I would change for a remake. Do any of you guys have an idea for this question I sprung on you unfairly?
Oh yes. Um, I was going to say the map markers, but I think my first choice would be the ability to lock on or use special weapons while moving.
Okay.
Because the
Yeah.
fact that you can't means for most boss battles, I didn't use special weapons and I never logged on because like I can't just stand still. I'll get hit.
Yeah, doing sort of like a either like a left-right strafe blanketing or a circling them with while firing the buster roughly towards the center of the screen was how I beat every single boss
Yes,
battle.
yeah. Everything is a
circle
circle.
strafe, circle strafe,
Yep.
circle strafe. Keep
Yeah,
going.
so either like a back and forth strafe or a circle strafe is how you do
How-
everything.
It's basically how much can you circle strafe and jump at the same time and see if you can hit the weakness.
If something was flying over me though, I would have to lock on at least a little bit with my machine buster. Again, aerial the circle strafe isn't as effective when they're when the enemy's above you and flying at weird angles. But yeah, I totally feel you with a better targeting system or a moving while targeting system. Scott or Rob, do you have an idea for something you would change or add for an MML1 remake?
Change or add? I mean, I think Mike already said. I mean, I would get rid of the Z targeting. Like, I've never liked Z targeting, even like Ocarina and stuff like that. Like or not Z targeting, but like the targeting with the like you get a reticule and you have to like it's like this is your target right here. I've never liked that 3D action. I would say if you're gonna do a remake, change the whole actual like combat.
Yeah.
Instead of circle strafing, and just make it not just the controls, but change the combat. I think.
Well, maybe you could just use aiming on a second analog stick or something.
Yeah, that works too.
Yeah.
Change the combat. Let's just remake it in the Mega Man X4 engine. Yeah, that's the solution.
I like Mega Man X4. Not 2D, but I mean like
the blade arm is kind of like the Z Saber, kind of.
Yeah, you get it. Well, technically, to get one of the parts for the shine laser is called the X Buster.
Yeah, that's a clever reference, I guess. So Rob, what's your answer? What would you change or add if this game got remade?
Oh, I really don't want a remake, but if there was a Mega Man Legends 3, imagine such a thing. I reckon like better controls would have been a foregone conclusion. I just imagine that was probably on the cards with that prototype that they were working on. But what I'd want more verbs out in the world and in the dungeons, because within Mega Man Legends 1 in particular, you really are just sort of doing the one thing throughout the entirety of the game, and maybe seeing if there were more special weapons that had an effect in the world, like the drill, or some sort of light puzzle solving, or just feeling like Mega Man was a little bit more tactile than just this running shooting thing, which I mean that's what Mega Man is, but that's not what Mega Man Volnut is. So I'd like to see like a little bit more things to do, I suppose, in terms of what you can do with your controller.
Yeah, more verbs besides talk, search, and shoot your weapons.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
I get you.
I don't know what they would be, but I'm thinking, if the dungeons were something more in tune with Ocarina of Time, where there are certain tasks that you need to perform, or certain gimmicks, or certain challenges to overcome, because none of the bosses really, there's not really much strategy other than shoot this thing until it's dead.
Yeah, and then there's like a couple little like shields where you like hit a button to turn the shields off, but that's as far as I got with puzzles.
These aren't Zelda bosses where you need to get bosses into vulnerable states by using puzzle elements, and this isn't Mega Man, or whoops, here's a Robot Master for you. This isn't Batman Arkham City where you have to like set traps for Mr. Freeze in the lab until he trips and damages himself. That's a really good boss battle. Like Arkham City hasn't aged that great as an open world game, but that Mr. Freeze boss battle rules. And again, Batman, that's a free Robot Master name. Cat.
I was gonna say I'd buy that DLC.
Yeah, I'd fight.
And I get something for that one. But
they do have Shade Man in Mega Man 7, who was basically, and dude, that stage is basically a Castlevania stage. It sounds like, even the stage music sounds like Bloody Tears. But okay, back to Mega Man Legends and not Batman or other things. We haven't really talked about the story yet. I mean, we mentioned the Lake June and the Closer Woods subgates, but then after that you have Oh boy, you have a bunch of fights in the air at once against some pirates, and I did not love this part of the game.
No, that's where I wanted to be able to move and lock on,
Yeah.
or move and aim better.
Yeah.
I
Um,
don't know how I beat this boss with like no health left at all. But somehow I did. I wanted to cry, but I made it.
I like it. I think it's a really cool battle. It's just again, it's one of those things where some improved controls would have made it like where you're not thinking about the controls, like you're just focusing on the
Mm.
fight because it's a
And if you
really interesting battle.
if you try to lock on, it just goes nuts because it's trying to lock on to all these different crafts at once and
Yeah, that
Yeah,
too.
doing
that's why I
nothing.
said I hate Z
yeah,
targeting in
I,
like every game or
I
whatever.
used my machine gun for this, and I ran out of juice so fast because it just like again the lock on was mostly functional, but leaves you vulnerable, and the distance is usually so great that the machine gun bullets trail behind the enemy and they don't
Oh
hit.
yeah.
So
Hmm.
I mostly I mostly did this without locking on, and again it was close for me too. I had barely any health left, and I ended up using the using my what do they call it, the canister or
The canteen.
yeah, the canteen, that was it. And they do the Mega Man Legends thing where it's not really one boss battle, it's three boss battles in a row.
Yeah, and they don't warn you about that.
No, the closest hint that you have is, oh, what's Data doing outside this door? This isn't where you usually are, buddy. It's like, oh no, and they don't have the segmented door in a lot of Mega Man games. On the way to a boss
Yes.
with the big Wily sign above. So
I think at this point you got to realize this is not a Mega Man game.
yeah, it's
It's
like,
like this is not a Mega Man game.
oh, Dr. Wily's a friendly boat operator now.
Yes, exactly.
That's an industry.
It drags Sollosi back in. It's like, yeah, oh, this has got to be this. It's coming now. Here comes
Yeah,
the Mega Man stuff.
it's an interesting career change for old Albert, I gotta say.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I completely forgot the Bruno fight because I'm like, oh, I got to go to like all these little sub cities. Like, what's through here? And like, I didn't save that time before I went in the door, and I got killed because it's a big thing like spring on you without any warning. It's just like, oh, this giant boss that will kill you in 3 hits.
I think I did know about that, but it was definitely because I was following a guide and not because of context clues.
Yeah. I do like the pirates though. I don't know if we talked about that much. I think they're
Oh,
just
they're great.
side characters.
Oh yeah, no, we did talk
They're my
about them.
favorite characters.
We did talk about them a little bit. They're probably my Tron and Teasel are my favorite non-Data characters, I would say.
Now they're who make this story interesting.
Yes.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
Sunday or Saturday morning cartoon villains, and they
Exactly.
ham it up and they're great.
And I have to say I enjoyed that they were in pretty good spirits at the end of the game because they free Mega Man from the trap that what's his name, the pink hair fella, Juno,
Mega Man
Juno.
that Juno leaves him in, and then they end up like floating very slowly along the ocean, but at least they got the giant refractor crystal that Mega Man couldn't pick up at the in the final dungeon.
Yep. Just like they said they would do. Let him go in there and we'll plunder it.
Yep. So they let Mega Man go. There's no hard feelings, and they got a huge reward. But they're also kind of stranded, so they aren't totally sailing into the sunset successfully. That was it was a good choice of tone, making them as silly and as powerful, but also as friendly as they are, and also to have them sort of win and lose at the end. I don't know, like a good Lupin the Third cartoon or something. It's like, yeah, he's a scoundrel, and he got the treasure, but then he kind of doesn't have the treasure. I found the pirates delightful. I totally get why Tron is a fan favorite that got her own game and has been in a couple Capcom versus games. That's very good.
Yeah, and they both get better in the sequel too, which is
Awesome.
You see a lot of them.
Oh, is there a fourth? That's do we get an expanded family? Is there
No.
a Bond family reunion?
Although you do learn about their parents. I don't know if you trying to think.
I mean, there's some other characters they're with. They're not
Yeah.
Bond people, but there's some more characters that tag along.
And
with
There's a second set of pirates in Legends 2.
And speaking of parents, this is one thing I thought was a little unusual. They mentioned Rolls looking for her parents in like the first 30 minutes of the game, and then the last 5 minutes of the game. And otherwise, I don't think there was a single mention or clue about that.
And you'll immediately drop right into that in Legends
Sure.
2.
I mean,
That's the main plot of Legends 2.
Like, okay, I get that, and that's fine. But I thought it was a little weird for them to uh,
There's
to pay
so
off
much of this.
to pay off absolutely none of that in Mega Man Legends 1.
Yeah.
There's so much of this game's plot that just doesn't work for me at all.
I mean, I have to struggle to think of something that Barrel actually does.
I think like it feels like an opening act of a much bigger story, and it just doesn't pan out. You don't get any answers, and I think that's the reason why I picked up Mega Man Legends 2 so fast when they came out, because I wanted answers.
So,
I
so
wanted
Mega
to.
Man Legends 2 answers some of these
Oh yeah,
questions and is
yeah.
a bit of a more plot heavy, more
Yes,
fully
it's
featured
more
game.
plot heavy. Yeah, and it's
Yep,
more feature
yep.
full, and then it leaves you on another freaking cliffhanger for
I mean, the
15 years. Capcom.
the things that actually matter in this story, well, I mean, in terms of the wider plot, they all happen like in the last hour, basically out of nowhere.
Yeah, Mega Man Juno recognizing Mega Man Volnut was interesting. I mean, from the beginning, I wasn't 100% sure if Volnut was human or robot, because I mean, I could tell Roll seemed human, and Barrel seems like human with cybernetic enhancements from an injury or something, because he has that metal plate in his face. So,
Yeah.
so I'm like, okay, so either everyone in this game is sort of part human, part robot, or it's not a big deal, and which is fine. But I wasn't 100% sure on Mega Man being a full robot or a full human. But Juno recognizing him and calling him Mega Man Trigger, and Juno's full name being Mega Man Juno, and even saying that Trigger had a special designation, that he was a purifier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, this is a lot of world building in the past 5 lines of dialogue.
Yes.
Oh yeah, and this
Yeah.
is just like not hinted at, and it's a treasure hunting story, and then you go too deep, and there's Juno, and
And it's
guess
like,
what?
oh, the treasure all along was you, Mega Man.
Yeah, and you've got to kill every human.
And they mentioned that Mega Man was an agent of Mother, and I don't even know if this is in the game. I think it may just be in the opening cutscene over water. But they mentioned that diggers are searching for the Mother Lode.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
So I wonder if if Mother is the the queen of this ancient robot civilization, and she's the Mother Lode. I don't know. I have far too many questions and not enough answers from these 15 minutes of dialogue and 2 half boss battles at the end of the game.
Yeah. It felt like Inafune wanted to make a huge story, and it was like, this is the opening act. This is how it starts, and then he's like, oh, I can't fit everything into one game, and I'll stop right here. And that's what it feels like. It's you get 10 minutes of plot, and it's like you don't have any answers at the end of the game. It's like, okay, and then maybe there'll be a sequel, because it does leave off into like, oh, to be continued kind of thing.
The ending is sort of sweet. They're flying off in the flutter, and everyone in the town is waving back at them. And I loved the terribly animated polygons and all those farewells, especially the inspector's mustache.
I do love a playable ending.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I'm here for that.
Yeah, the re-explorable ending. Saying goodbye to everyone in all of the social links in a Persona game. The fully explorable world like a Dragon Quest 7 or an Earthbound. That's all really great, except I'm still mad that there's a plot important item that you can only find hidden in a well at the ending cutscenes of Dragon Quest 7. That seems wrong.
There's a lot wrong with that game, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Also fair. But I had to, again, to go back to Roll's parents thing, I completely forgot about Roll's parents, except there's a throwaway line at the end. Oh, maybe at the next island we'll find something about your parents, Roll. I'm like, oh, right. That was the thing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, remember they crash landed though. They didn't intend to go there. This whole thing was like a side quest of where they were trying to go.
So Mega Man Legends is more like a Mega Man Gaiden, and Mega Man Legends 2 is the real Mega Man legend.
Sure.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Actually, that's a pretty good synopsis.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, I'll start Mega Man Legends 2 as soon as I finish Dragon Quest 11, and I will be raring to talk about it next week. So invested Mega Man Legends fans have been thirsty for a sequel for 18 years, or 17 plus years, and without going into plot stuff, because I haven't really started Mega Man Legends 2 yet, Mega Man Legends 2 ends on a cliffhanger.
Yes.
So, okay, unrelated to plot, what is something you would definitely want in a Mega Man Legends 3? This is my second unfair early question I want to add to you guys. And for me, the answer is very, very clear. I want bosses that give you their weapons when you beat them. That is one Mega Man thing that I am upset, borderline dumbfounded is not in Mega Man Legends 1 or 2. That feels like a central Mega Man tenet to me.
I think you gotta let go of the whole. This is not a Mega Man game. It's never.
I'm not
it's a
letting
Mega
go.
Man
Oh
game
no,
in
no.
name
If
Never
a
let
game has
go.
Mega
Name
Man in
alone.
the title, you are getting weapons after you defeat bosses. I'm sorry. That is something that I am still kind of baffled is not in this game. So if Mega Man Legends 3 were to happen, like, sure, even if it's just weapon parts they have to assemble later, but just give me more bespoke boss battles with Mega Man-ish weapons as the reward. I need that.
Actually, even if it wasn't like weapons or parts, like anything unique from a boss battle instead of just like here's another pile of money would
Sure.
be a little more interesting.
Yeah,
Yes.
my expectations are low for a Mega Man Legends 3 ever happening, which is a little sad
Or like
to say. I know it's a little unfair of me.
maybe some villains that some more villains that you have a back and forth with. Because it's there's the bonds. They're not really villains anymore by the end of Mega Man Legends. And then there's Juno, and then there's just like a whole bunch of mindless Reaver bots. So
Yeah,
seeing some more enemies with agency would be pretty cool.
I would say that Juno's pretty memorable, and the bonds are total delights. But you're right,
Juno would
Rob.
work better if he just there's nothing hinting at his existence.
I think we mentioned this last episode, but and to be fair, I listened to that episode only a few days ago. It's pretty fresh in my memory. That the battles on the surface against the bonds are full of personality and dialogue, but
Yeah.
the battles underground are against these nameless, faceless, silent Reaver bots. That they were almost done by separate teams. It's like, oh, here's like the Mega Man Breath of Fire crew upstairs, and then the Resident Evil crew downstairs. But more villains with personality and dialogue and purpose. I would say is a very good choice. Although I don't mean to put words in your mouth, Rob.
And you get
No,
that. You get.
yeah.
Oh, you get that in Mega Man Legends too. Is you get more villains, more air pirates, more stuff like that. The cast kind of expands.
Maybe in Mega Man Legends 3, it should just all be crews of pirates, and with the Mega Man pirates being your crew.
Oh, if they started the game off like where you start, because I mean, I can't without going into plot until you finish it.
Instead
I
of
think
having
if they start Mega Man Legends 3 where as you start as a pirate, that'd be cool. I think
instead
that'd
of
be
having
awesome.
Sky Pirates.
instead of
Yeah.
having the spiky Mega Man Legends hair that takes up a lot of airspace, have a jaunty pirate hat in like occupying the same polygons.
On that note, have any of you guys played Skygunner on
No.
PlayStation 2?
I have not.
No.
I have no earthly idea what that is.
Yeah.
Oh my, this is a really cool game. It was released by I think Atlas USA in maybe 2001 or 2002. And
So
it's
this is the bumpy trot era of Atlas.
yeah, I'm gonna get to that later too.
Oh boy.
But it's basically like Star Fox but with Sky Pirates, and it's got like the look and feel of Mega Man Legends.
Oh, okay.
It's very neat.
That's interesting. That's an interesting combination of references, at least.
Yeah. That's all.
Okay.
Okay.
I guess there's Tail Concerto as well, but
All right. So
Yeah, I played that so.
So, Scott, if other than resolving plot threads, what's something you definitely would want in a hypothetical Mega Man Legends 3?
I would like to see Mega Man Legends 2 definitely lets you go to like different places and stuff like that, but I'd love to see actual open world stuff. That'd be cool. I think if they could do like open world, like you on catalogs you get like a lot of kind of the beginnings of an open world stuff, and then in Legends 2 you kind of get to go to different places and it's still looking open world. But if they made like all open world and you just get to like fly around the flutter and just go places, different islands, I think that'd be dope.
Cool. All right. So that's our thought on Mega Man Legends 3. Now, they've been deliberately vague about this, but Capcom has said in the whole year or so of publicity that they've done for Mega Man 11, which I think is pretty cool so far. I've only played I've beaten one Robot Master in Mega Man 11 and then went right back to a different game that ends in 11. The Capcom representatives have mentioned that if Mega Man 11 is successful, then they'll be much more open to reviving old Mega Man properties, which gets people, immediately going to an X9 or a Legends 3.
Right.
So it's like How optimistic or how hopeful should fans be, do you think, for a possible Legends 3 in the next, say, 6 years?
I would say absolutely none because they tried
No.
it. They tried it. They tried to get the fans involved. They tried to. They had a prototype version. They just never released
But
anything.
the thing is,
And
the thing is, I don't think Inafune had a single successful game the past what, like 12 years, other than Mega Man 9, which did do okay.
Yeah, and
Well,
you
the Gunvolt
don't.
games seem popular, don't they?
the what?
Yeah,
Gunvolt, yeah.
the Azure Striker Gunvolt games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like I think that because Mega Man 11 has no Inafune influence. They even mentioned how their 11 was done by younger directors that grew up like working on Inafune's teams, and it took multiple pitches. Like they said, over a dozen pitches to higher ups before 11 got approved. So I think there is Mega Man enthusiasm within Capcom. And if 11 does well, then there could be a 12 or an X9 or a Legends 3.
My issue with that though is I feel like gameplay wise, I don't think you ever need Inafune to go do a Mega Man game. But for the story, this is his story.
He's a CEO. He's not a creator.
Yeah.
But I mean, I also think that I don't know if he has been a great CEO
obviously not.
The past 10 plus years. So having Mega Man free of his influence might be good for Mega Man. Because again, I haven't played it a lot, but I think Mega Man 11's good.
It's a fantastic game. But like I said, I'm not worried about gameplay. I don't play the Mega Man Legends games for gameplay because they're not for combat. We talk about combat controls. They're horrid. But I played it for the story, and I want to know Inafune's story. And if it's not that story, you have to understand at the end of Mega Man Legends 2, like they said, there's a really big cliffhanger. They leave a lot of stuff.
Does in Mega Man Legends 3, we'll never have a scene of someone walking up to him in a bar and Mega Man Volnut responds, "Mega Man, I haven't heard that name in years."
No, shoot, now I want that.
Yeah, right.
I don't know enough about Mega Man Legends 2 to think about the story implications of a possible Mega Man Legends 3, but honestly, I think I'm a little more optimistic than Scott because I think there are people in Capcom that want to make more Mega Man, and Legends 3 would have at least... there would at least be an enthusiastic fan response to its announcement. So if they can... Again, I don't know much about story implications, but I think that it's something that Capcom has at least had a meeting about.
I'm sure. I think one of the big problems with 3 was it was probably like we talked about with the first one. It's like I don't think Capcom wanted to do it. I think it was Inafune saying, "Look, we're going to do this thing. It's like Kickstarter, but Kickstarter doesn't exist."
But higher ups in Capcom didn't want 11 to happen, and it was its creators like pushing for it to make it happen. So if 11 is successful, and then I think Legends 3 could happen, but people like Mega Man. I think the response to 11 was positive, or unless I'm totally out of touch, which is possible.
I think so. No, but I mean, what I was getting at with Legends 3 was like he was pushing for it, but then he left the company during the campaign. So I'm like,
right.
I mean, of course. So I don't know if anyone really knows why, but I'm sure at that point they're like, well, the guy left, so like we're not going to keep doing this.
It's easy for them to say, like, oh, there was no fan involvement, but they weren't really reaching out to fans, and I reckon that's probably a convenient excuse to just...
They tried. Like, they tried, and there was a bunch of stuff you could, like, vote on and stuff like that, but it was, like...
It was a half-hearted try, though.
It was very half-hearted.
Let's be real. It's, Mega Man Legends 3 is not, the Last Guardian, so, I mean, they really had nothing to gain from continuing to do it, I suppose. Other than our undying love, but
yes, whatever that's worth.
Yeah. Well, I think if you like Mega Man, get Mega Man 11, and then just like keep your expectations low, and then maybe you can be pleasantly surprised if they ever do return to this series.
Agreed, and that's directed at listeners and not just at me, I should say. Because so far, Mega Man 11 has my endorsement as a pretty good game so far, and also as an endorsement of please get this so Capcom thinks about making more Mega Man games.
Yeah.
Maybe a Legends 3, or maybe they'll just make like a 3D Mega Man in an existing series and have it have 3D action elements, but then
let's do that first-person one.
The last time they tried that, it was Mega Man X7, which is one of the worst games with Mega Man in the title.
Yeah, it's
boy, that one's rough. This is one of the retro encounter games I've been the most torn about playing because I went in with some enthusiasm because I love Mega Man, and then I was frustrated at first because I remembered why I didn't like Mega Man Legends 20-ish years ago when I first played it. But then as I played it, I started liking it more and more, and I was genuinely intrigued by a lot of the dialogue with Juno at the end. So there are the seeds of a good game here, and I'm sure Mega Man Legends 2 is much more functional, and the spirit of it is good. All the dialogue, the expressiveness, and the look of the main characters, I think is sort of creating their own fun interpretation of a Mega Man world, and all of that's not bad. It has Mega Man spirit, even though I don't think like the execution lives up to its ambition.
That's fair.
That's my feeling.
I'm in agreement.
That's my feelings in Mega Man Legends 1. There's cool ideas, cool visual cues, a lot of things to like, but those likable things are rarely the gameplay.
Yeah.
Yeah, most definitely.
If you're about to wrap it up, we need to make sure we talk about the monkey in the room first.
Oh, we do. We mentioned him a little bit. We didn't mention him at all in the first episode, and we mentioned him only offhand this episode. But Data might be the best save function character in video game history.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
No, I agree with that.
I cannot think of a better one at all.
Who doesn't like a dancing monkey?
Right.
He's a monkey doing the monkey with a very cute design and a very nice little animation loop. I think the one thing that would have made this game go from a 7 out of 10 to a 10 out of 10 is a giant kaiju Data versus Servbot destroying over Cadillac City battle. That's what I wanted more than anything.
That's in Legends too.
Yeah.
Really?
No, I'm just kidding.
No.
I'm sorry.
I believe you for 7/10 of a second.
Although
God.
there is a... okay, I won't say anything.
Okay, sure. Is there more Data involvement in Mega Man Legends 2?
Of course, you learn all
Yes.
about Data at the end of this game. You learn he's a memory unit. Of course, he plays a way more important role in the second game.
He's
Yeah.
literally a memory card within a memory card.
He literally starts the game off in Legends 2. Pretty funny.
He shoves himself into a PlayStation 1 and then zoomed over a waterlogged Vista. Sure. Data's great. I would not and he also is in the fine tradition of Mega Man's animal companions alongside Rush the dog, Beat the bird, Tango the cat, who is one of the most underutilized Mega Man characters ever. But I guess if we're talking about Tango the cat and not about Data the monkey, maybe it is the end of the episode. I had a lot of fun recording it with you guys, and this again maybe my favorite thing about recording these episodes is finally having finally having an excuse or at least some prodding to go back and play these games, which I have had in my backlog as in my list of gaming shames for decades now.
I will say if you want an idea of what an open world Mega Man Legends 3 could be like, I would recommend tracking down a copy of Steambot Chronicles for PlayStation 2.
Bumpy
You're gonna say
Always
that.
Steambot Chronicles.
Where's Marcos?
Always Steambot Chronicles.
Where's Marcos?
Yeah. Throwing Marcos a bone here.
Marcos, who has a small child and is probably sleeping whenever he can, just woke up bolt upright because someone said Steambot Chronicles.
Yes.
Wonderfully janky game with a very quite similar tone, and a lot of the robots and pirate gangs you're fighting have a similar kind of feel to the Bonds. Not quite as unique or memorable, but still a heck of a lot of fun. Very janky game. So you can cry over Steambot Chronicles 2 getting canceled, as well as Legends 3.
Great.
I did buy a copy of Steambot Chronicles because of Marcos's enthusiastic recommendation of it. Like, we've mentioned it on podcasts a couple of times, but back when Marcos and I were both in the RPG Fan Music section, he would talk up that game a lot. So it was not just podcasts where Marcos is evangelizing that Uncommon Atlas PS2 game.
Yeah, it's It's pretty janky, but I have a lot of affection for it.
I just love that its Japanese title is like, what is it? It's something like Monogatari Bumpy Trot or something.
It's a romantic scrap adventure, bumpy trot.
Oh, it's even better. Oh, that's great. Well, anyway, okay, all right. If we're done with Mega Man Legends and talking about romantic scrap adventure bumpy trot, now the episode's definitely over. Listeners, thank you so much for joining us in our Mega Man Legends discussion. We have 2 more Mega Man Legends episodes ahead of us, but they are about the sequel, Mega Man Legends 2, coming in the next 2 weeks. And following that, it's still in the planning stages, but I think we're going to have a Halloween-ish, definitely creepy, maybe indie horror RPG episode right after Mega Man Legends 2. Rob, you're involved in that one, but it's
I am.
You're pinning down the game that you're playing and what it's going to be about.
Yeah. I believe we have all decided that we're going to be playing the indie Wolf RPG game, Mermaid Swamp.
I think we're going to try and run that one right after Mega Man Legends 2. Listeners, check out Mermaid Swamp in the meantime if you want to be a little more informed when that episode airs in about 3 weeks. And following that, I think I did put it publicly on Twitter. So the next Game Journal game that we're having with 2 episodes in the month of November is Golden Sun. That Camelot classic. It turns out that they can make a game better than Beyond the Beyond.
Beyond the Beyond 2.
Rob, I think that you and I think we get arrested if we don't mention Beyond the Beyond at least once a month on a podcast.
Yeah, well, we'll have to do that for a game journal, maybe for April Fools.
Please no. So, listeners, you can find us on RPGFan.com. There, we have many fine articles and podcasts and community features on that website, including the entire back catalog of Retro Encounter, Random Encounter, and Real Missing. My notes just end after those 2 podcasts. That's a little weird.
Yeah, weird.
Yeah. Our RPG Fan also has Twitter pages, Facebook pages, Instagram pages, Twitch pages, all of them linked from that front page. Scott is one of our regular Twitch streamers. We have Twitch streams going on every day, and to see what that menu of like watch-alongs is, you can check on the RPGFan.com front page. And let's see. Do we have anything else to plug before we go to individual social media accounts?
I don't think so.
Oh, we have a Discord.
I would plug a feature coming up, but the feature is going to post right before this episode does, so hopefully people are already reading it.
Well, so let's say what it is.
Oh, we're doing the I think it's 25 now. Best 25 games on the 3DS.
Awesome. Yes, we had features from before I joined the website on the best of the PSP and DS, which got a lot of engagement and were a lot of eyes on them. So now that the 3DS and Vita eras are roughly coming to a close, we're going to have features on the best RPGs on each of those systems, starting with the 3DS, which should be the first thing in the features list right now. Listener, if you're listening to this episode shortly after it comes out, the 3DS feature should be near the top of the list of features. And I wrote a couple of blurbs from that. I think Mike and Rob, both of you did as well.
Yes.
Scott, did you do any writing on that one?
No, I didn't get a chance.
Oh, okay. But so anyway, it was a lot of fun compiling all of those, and in its early version that staff can look at now, it looks like it's going to turn out really well. But it'll already be out at the time this episode airs. That's correct. So let's share how listeners can reach us individually before we close it off, starting with you, Mike.
Well, sometimes I lurk on Discord, but you can also get to me on Twitter at Valkyrie Studio, or email. Does people use email anymore? But, our emails are on the site. All
right, and Rob, your turn.
I invite you all to join me on a romantic scrap adventure on Twitter at Misanthrobob.
I'm going to incorporate the phrase romantic scrap adventure 2,000% more than I used to.
Heck yeah.
In the next few months. Scott, how can listeners reach you most easily?
I do not have any kind of social media, but you can find me on Discord, and you can also find me on the Twitch channel almost every night. If you want to come talk to me personally or ask questions, you're more than welcome to come on.
Chats like Discord and Vent and Slack, those are kind of social media. They're social media adjacent.
Yeah, I guess.
It's improved IRC. And IRC is just multiplayer notepad.
Mm-hmm.
And listeners, if you want to reach me, the easiest way to do so is probably via Twitter. I am at The Real Monsoon most of the time and at Evoker for Dogs other times. I am Monsoon on the RPG Fan boards that I don't use anymore, and Monsoon Mike on the RPG Fan Discord. So I think we've about covered it. I hope I didn't forget anyone this time. A few episodes ago, I accidentally tried to close the episode without getting to one panelist, and I'm still embarrassed about it.
You know, it's
But
your cross to bear.
I think we can close the door on Mega Man Legends 1 and open the door for Mega Man Legends 2 starting next week. Listeners, thank you, good night, and good luck.